TALKFUNDING Deep Dive with John from Mammoth Interactive about his third iteration of his highly successful Python and machine learning course. So let's go. Let's get on with the show. TALKFUNDING Deep Dive. And here we are with John from Mammoth Interactive. And John's really going to talk us through his current offering of his 28th or 29th Kickstarter campaign. I'm beginning to lose count of them. He's such a successful crowdfunder. But in this one here, we're going to really set it up and allow John just to talk through his complete machine learning 3.0 offer that's on at the moment and the 6 levels. So really, John, I'm just going to really hand it over to you just to talk through the 6 levels.
Sure. Yeah. So once we pull that up, so this again, if you hadn't checked out the first one, this is a huge bundle of Python and machine learning courses. And you've probably heard about machine learning. You know, if you in the news, if you read technology news, you hear like, well, Tesla's building full self-driving with machine learning. You know, this is what it is. And you can't really do this with every single kind of language. I mean, some languages work better than others, but Python is the de facto language that allows you to do that. And Python is, again, it's actually pretty easy to use. You know, my first language that I used was like C, like way back in the 90s. And I was, I did this when I was 12. I went to my university as a summer camp. That was when coders were not cool, by the way, right? So learning in C, you know, was really difficult. And in C++ was better. But Python is very, very easy to use. It's very easy to get going and to get started. And we actually use something called Google Colab, which is like kind of an online, you just basically pull up the website, all the editors in there, and you watch the tutorials, you're good to go. So it starts off with level 1. And you know, level 1 is for complete beginners. And that's the whole point of this bundle, is we want to get anyone who's never coded before, or who has coded maybe a little bit, or even experts to kind of go through this. Now, if you're an expert, you can obviously skip maybe a couple levels, maybe go to level 3 automatically. And we actually do see a lot of that. We see a lot of people that have already coded and kind of moved in here. But if, in case you've never coded before, level 1 is for you. And it will go through all the parts very easily, very succinctly, and we try not to waste your time, right? We don't go through any extraneous information. It's just pure learning, as pure as it can get. And we try to make sure that you build practical projects immediately. So it's not theory. Like, I mean, I've been through so many computer programming courses, and it's just like, well, here's all this theory. There's these sorting algorithms, and it's like, what is this? I mean, how do I get a job? How do I use this? And we basically start building practical projects right away, right? And then level 2 is, you know, kind of a continuation of that, right? We start to build even more complex projects. But really, the big thing I really like about this Kickstarter is level 3 and level 4. So level 3 is OpenCV. And if OpenCV is a machine learning library that allows you to do a whole bunch of really awesome things. In fact, on Kickstarter right now, the main feature is kind of this OpenCV pocket camera. And well, you can now have a course. Siri. Yeah. So you have this whole, now you can program an OpenCV, and there's so many cool things you can do that you can, and like, vision is probably the #1 thing that machine learning does well. And OpenCV does vision the best out of every single one of the libraries out there. And we've tried a bunch of different libraries over the years. And as things come and go, OpenCV is by far the best. You know, in order to get like full self-driving, anything like that to work, you need to have computer vision, and it can detect cars, cyclists, lanes. It can even detect emotions. Right? That's really cool. So it can detect emotions. It can detect a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of really awesome projects, like even building like a prototype self-driving cars in there, as well as there's a bunch of image restoration. Because again, machine learning, if it does anything really, really well, it does images. It does images very well, and it looks at graphs, right? Because that's kind of what machine learning is at a very basic level. But you know, it looks at images really well. And there's a project in there that will allow you to restore an image. So if you've ever had like an old image of your grandparents or something like that, and you know, the photo is a little bit distorted, I guess. Well, machine learning can make that image restored as well. You know, there's a lot of cool things you can do. Like you can colorize the image. There's even some machine learning projects, not in this particular Kickstarter, that can like animate from still images. It's really, really cool. But essentially, OpenCV is essential if you want to become any kind of machine learning specialist now. And, you know, the fact that, you know, OpenCV it's so in demand that if you know how to use it, you'll probably, you know, fall easily into a job, right? So that's why we do this, right? Because I'll talk about my backstory perhaps in another video, but it's basically as soon as I started learning programming, like all the doors opened up, right? But the next thing, and the thing that we're really excited about, because since we've sold over 1 million courses over 10 years, we try to be on the cutting edge. And, you know, that changes over time, right? We have to constantly look at the market. And, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was all about iOS apps, right? You build an iOS app and it was all about that. We would produce the biggest iOS course ever. But this year, right, and I think we're a little bit ahead of the curve on this, is that we're looking into biology and machine learning. Because believe it or not, if you are into biology, and considering that, you know, it's a pandemic or whatever, right, biology and machine learning are going to be the marriage of two ideas that really can make people stand out in your, if you're looking for a career, these are some two things that you might want to get really good at, because there is going to be a ton of money flowing in to, you know, vaccines, any kind of biology testing. Like, it's going to be huge. And biology, if you've ever taken a biology course, there's a lot of data that can come in. And what's the best way to do that? And classify all that data? Machine learning, right? So there's so many cool projects that we're showing how to do. We can, you know, detect diabetes, right? And believe it or not, this, again, the way that we structure things, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, you know, from level 3 is OpenCV. Well, you need that vision for the biology section, right? So you'll do the OpenCV, then you do the biology section. And you can even detect things like malaria with computer vision. We have a practical project where you can do that, right? And so if you're looking to get some kind of, you know, job machine learning, then yeah, this is exactly the course and the bundle of courses for you.
Fantastic. And then that's, I mean, I just have to say, this is why I love TalkFunding, is that I get to have the opportunity to listen to you guys, listen to somebody like yourself, John, who's like at the top of his game. And I would just love the way you're saying you're at the sort of the crest of the wave here. And, you know, in terms of doing the computer vision with OpenCV, which is the level 3, which now I understand you need to do that level 3 module. You go into level 4 because machine learning for biology, and how that is just going to explode in terms of job markets, in terms of people needing to be trained. Phenomenal, my friend. So I feel very privileged. Thank you very much for doing this interview. Level 5 goes on to build machine learning modules. And what happens then in the module section?
So after that, we get into the more of like the major points of machine learning. Like, there's a lot of extra things, like, even though you can build a lot of practical projects in the OpenCV and then the biology, there's more things that you can learn. And we dive more into kind of like the nitty-gritty parts of machine learning. And there's different ways, like, okay, so when you have a model or when you have a problem, you have to like make sure that you fit the right solution, because like there's a ton of solutions out there. You have to fit the right one. And then we kind of go through that process. And then of course we give, you know, practical projects on how you can do that. And so it basically, this particular bundle goes from beginner all the way to advanced. And those last two are the advanced section of the course.
Yeah, and the last section being level 6 is to build neural networks. I mean, so it's been a very good deep dive, because you're basically showing you how you can go, like me, I would be level 1, introduced into Python, never done any machine learning. So you've given me the confidence to sort of go, oh God, maybe I could have a go at this. Let's just open this up, take the first step and begin and do the journey. And I just love a way you build in the confidence levels of, you do your level 1, you get a bit of confidence up, you do the practical projects, which are golden really, to do those practical projects. And then you move on to level 2, then you move on to the really meaty stuff, which you're saying is so relevant today, of the computer vision with OpenCV And then the level 4, this whole new area of the machine learning for biology, which sounds absolutely fascinating, you know, really great. So listen, I really thank you so much, John, for doing this deep dive with us today with your complete machine learning 3.0 course, which is live in Kickstarter, and all the links for that course will be in the video description below. Thank you so much, my friend. Cheers, mate.
Awesome.